Okay, let's go. Today I'm going to talk about Feign. Feign is just a pragmatic Java REST client. Okay, and let me introduce me. My name is Igor. I'm living in Toulouse, France, and I'm working at Monkey Patch. I'm going to talk about how you deal with your daily basis with the Java REST client, with JSON and things like that, and more advanced topic at the end, if I have enough time, of course. So let's go into basic. What is Feign? Feign is a simple, really simple REST API, open source. You can find all the interesting things in the GitHub account. The documentation is basically only the README. It's open source, of course. And it has been initiated by Netflix at the time I proposed the presentation. But today, Netflix does not use anymore Feign. In fact, they are doing more stuff in Node.js and does not need a Java REST client for a lot of things. And today, this is a community that drives the project. It's still active, of course. Netflix also providing a lot of open source quality project with Java on the microservice system. We are going to see that later. Feign is targeting Java 7 and more, so you can use it in Android, for example. And it's quite close to the retrofit project, also already good. A lot of people doing Android know already retrofit. But one key difference is that's not opinionated. It's that he is not coming with his own client, HTTP client. It lets you choose. So, as Hibernate says, I am pretty agree with Hibernate, but I think today it's the time of the microservice. So we need, of course, a microservice for doing cats. So I've written a small microservices. Here you can see just the doc, the Swagger. And I'm just going to start that microservice here. And it's just doing some crude stuff with get by ID, post, put, and delete. Okay? It's quite enough to show you how to use a Feign. Okay. I'm going to start with that small project. This is a Java 8 project. I've got no dependency at this time, just a fadjar, something building a fadjar. I've got a cat pojo here, nothing interesting into this class. And I've got a main that does nothing at the time. Okay? First thing I'm going to show you is I require to add the Feign dependency, the Feign core dependency. Okay, I'm going to use properties here. Great. Just to show you, there is only here Feign. It's quite a small project. We have very few classes. Okay, and we have an optional dependency, I think, on the animal sniffer that just containing one annotation. Okay, very small. And I'm going to change my, let's see, I am in JDK 9, I'm going to set JDK 8 at the moment. Sorry. Okay, now I'm working with Feign. First of all, Feign need to have a Java interface. Okay, I'm going to create a cat client interface. Yeah, this is creating an interface. Okay, now I'm going to implement the find all in that interface. Okay, create my method. I'm going to return a string for the moment. And in my main class, I require to create the instance of this client, cat client. I'm using the Feign builder here, and just saying that it's going to target the cat client class. with the specified URL that is defined just here. Okay? I'm close to the solution here. I just require a little bit of magic, white magic in Java, always meaning annotation. So I'm going to add the Feign annotation request line and giving the HTTP verb and the path. Just notice that this string, it looks like a HTTP request, the first line of HTTP request. And here the path is concatenated with the URL given here. Okay, let's run that code. Okay, I've got my string here representing my list of cats. Great, but this is not what I really want. In fact, I really want a list of cats here. Okay? So, if I run now, find that going to be said me that I am not able to deserialize the body of the response into a list of cats. I should add a decoder here. It could be written easily with just a lambda expression. I'm in Java 8 here. But of course, there are also existing some extension. I'm going to use the JSON extension of Feign. That's just providing the support of JSON, the Google API for dealing with JSON. Okay. JSON decoder, and I'm running. So, as I'm working with a list, I'm going to extract that list, and of course, I'm going to play with method reference here to display every cat on one line. Okay? This is just a method reference here. So now it's going to display every cat, the toString of my cats. Okay? It's working well. Going further, I'm going to write the find by ID method here. So first of all, I'm getting the first ID of a cat, an existing ID, of course. And here I'm going to do the find by ID with my ID. I'm creating this new method. Let's call it cat ID here. And again, I'm going to say that the request line is get slash, and I'm giving a parameter here. So I'm using a curly brace notation, and it's required to also add this annotation on the parameter with the name here. Okay? I'm going to run it again, and my cat will be displayed here. That's working well. A little bit harder now. Create. So I've already creating a cat, and I'm going to use the client.create method here. Okay, again, a request line. This time this is a post verb, and we are doing that on the slash path. Here we are going to send a body to my backend. And so I required an encoder to deal with my cat object and transform it into a JSON. Okay, it's easy, an encoder, new JSON encoder. I just want to show you that it's quite easy to write your own encoder or decoder. This is the JSON decoder. The method is here. If you remove all the corner case, the only line interesting is here. Okay? And if you look at the JSON encoder, it's even simpler. Okay? Just one line in the encode method. Other methods are just to providing other configuration of JSON. Yes, great. So now I'm going to run that, and it's going to create my cat. Oops. Here my backend answer with a glyph 415 error. So it's happened. Sometimes you don't read the documentation, or the documentation is not up to date. So let's debug this. Okay. To debug this, I'm going to use a really easy solution, the request interceptor. It's basically a consumer of a template, Feign template. Feign template is used to create the request by Feign, of course. And I'm going to display this template here. I'm going to make it shorter. With a method reference, and we run that code to understand what happened. Every time I'm going to make a call here, it's displaying my request. Same thing for the getById, and here I've got the post method for the creation. As you can see, it also displays the headers with the content length. And in fact, if I'm reading more carefully the error code, it says me that, in fact, I have not the media type is not supported. It assumes that it's a form URL encoded media type content, and this is not. So I'm going to just add into my API here another annotation to say, hey, this is a content type that is JSON. Okay, I can put this annotation on top of the interface if I want to be applied to all the methods. And of course, here I also can use the curly brace notation to have some parameter. Okay, and now it should work. Okay, great. I've created a cat, the database giving him an ID. Everything's okay. Here now I'm going to show you what the real usage of the request interceptor is. Often you have a backend with what required authentication, so that's spinning cookie or authorization token. In fact, this is a dynamic part of the content type of the headers. So I'm going to add a request, a dynamic headers in my call for every call. On template, I've got a headers method here. I can give it the key and the value. I'm going to use the current time. Okay, now that's the string. And now every time I'm running, and every time Feign doing the request, it's adding the dynamic header with the dat here. But every time is different, of course. Great. If you want to go further for debugging, you can use the Feign logger and setting the, for example, logger level to full, for example. And of course, you can setting a logger. There is a Feign logger. This is an abstract class, but there is already an implementation with the JDK logger, and of course there is an extension for SLF4J. If you turn that, you are looking at things really close to the verbose mode of curl. Just stopping here for the basic. The delete and the put are the same, are done with the same way that I've done the create and the find by ID. In fact, just the verb changing. Next, I'm going to show you that. Time to get back here. So, I show you the code with the JSON encoder. You can use Jackson if you want, and you also can use the XML if you want, or write your own encoder. Decoder is quite easy. I've already done that many times. How it works? There is no black magic behind. It's just using the JDK proxy class. Since JDK 1.3 will allow you to create a dynamic instance of an interface if you provide an invocation handler. And of course, since the JDK 1.1, you can do easily HTTP connection, and it's a default implementation. You can plug your own. We are going to see that later. If you are not happy with the Feign annotation, you can plug your own contract by giving Feign the metadata you need, or using, for example, the Feign JAX-RS. Now, advanced topic. First of all, how to be reactive. Reactive is a hot topic at the moment. And the first thing that came in my mind when I want to be reactive with Feign is writing a custom decoder for handling, for example, completable future or Eric's observable or things like that. It's a bad idea. You're just going to be reactive during the parsing of the response, and you want to be reactive during all the process. In fact, the networking is more important here. So it's easy to wrap your Feign interface into a reactive one, but not very sexy, of course. And you can use Feign Hystrix, an extension providing support of Hystrix we're going to talk about just now, and it's providing the Eric support. Yesterday I've been to the presentation about reactive core, and today I've just written a small code, that proof of concept on my GitHub, that doing the same things with the reactor core method, flux and mono. It's quite easy. It's on my GitHub. It's just a proof of concept. Don't use in production. So, Hystrix is known to provide a circuit breaker pattern. Just have a look at this is circuit breaker made in Belgium, and it's also the switch of the color of the Belgian beer: amber, stout, blonde, and creek. It's great. What is a circuit breaker? Circuit breaker, let's say that they have two states. In fact, there is more, but there are two states. The closed one, so the electricity passes and you have light in your room, everything is okay. Your server is okay. And if your server crash, maybe, or returning a 5-hour error or things like that, is going to be open. And now we don't ask the server. But sometimes you just want to have electricity another way. For example, there is emergency exit. You need the light at the moment. So you want to provide a fallback situation. In the reality, it's more complex. There are an intermediate state. They are checking if the server came back, and if not not came back, it's just waiting a few minutes to recheck and things like that. Time to live code. Okay. I've just changed my implementation of the client here to be easier. Just one method, it's enough. And the main here is the same thing as I've done. First step, of course, adding the Feign Hystrix extension. Okay. Okay. Then, so I want to be reactive, so I need the Eric's observable type here. Okay. Here I need to change the builder. I should use the Hystrix Feign builder. Okay. And now, okay, I'm going to do copy paste easier. Here, this is an observable list. So I can subscribe on the observable list, for example. I can also do some operation, for example, fatmap to unfold my list. Okay. Observable from, just a way to unfold, to transform my observable of list of cats to observable of cats. Okay, unfold. And then I can also use the map interface here to provide just a cat name. Okay, I'm going to try it. Oops, it seems that the request is sent, but not dealing. Welcome in the reactive world. You are asynchronous, and my main method just finished before the response. So I'm going to do evil code to show you that. Thread.sleep, I'm going to wait a certain amount of time, let's say 10 minutes. This is evil code. And we run it again. And now it's everything okay. I've got my cat's name. Okay, great. Time to do the circuit breaker things with the fallback. Here I can pass a fallback implementation. Okay, this is just another implementation of my interface. I should return an observable of list of cats. I'm going to do like that. Yes, I'm going to use the collections dot singleton cat. Cats, it's an animal pretty resilient. Oops. Yeah. So every time, even if you have no server, there's still remaining at least one cat. Okay. To try that, I'm going to play with the Rx observable operation and just generate a tick every 2 seconds, let's say. Okay. Next, I'm going to flat map that to make the call to my backend. Okay. And just after that, I've got an observable of list of cat, and I'm doing the same stuff. When I run this code, every 2 seconds, I made a call on my backend. At the time the circuit breaker is closed, everything seems okay. Every 2 seconds. Oops. Got an issue here. Run. Let's see that my server is okay. Oops. Okay. No time to debug that. Just trust me. Yeah, that's very weird. Demon God. Yes. Where? Sorry. Here, sorry, that's not a trouble, sorry. I'm going to move on. So, if I crash the server, the fallback situation came back and gives it the only cats that are in the list. Sorry. So, JDK 9. Good thing with JDK 9 is that it's arrived with a new HTTP client. It's on the java.net.http package. And if you want to know more, there is a talk Thursday morning about that topic. I have not enough time to show you the live coding for that, but I'm going to show you the implementation, the direct implementation. Okay. So I'm going to change my JDK to use the JDK 9 and use the experimental feature compilation. So first of all, here in my main class, I'm using JDK things that returning the version of the Java version here. And here I'm going just to show you that. If I run this code, it's just working like the same thing I've done before. And just the only thing changed that I have just written the Java version. But I can plug a custom client here. It's just an interface with one method to implement. And what is it doing? it's taking a Feign request and returning a Feign response. That's not hard. Every time I'm going to print ln things, and here I'm going to create an HTTP client with a GTK 9 here. I'm going to deal with the body. If the body is empty, I should pass no body things. Otherwise, I should create a body from the byte array. And after, I'm just adding every headers. And of course, I can just call the method and get the response. The HTTP client also can provide asynchronous response with a compatible feature. But here I'm going to do it synchronously. With the response, I can just extract the status code, the body, or the headers. For the header, I just require to translate the map of list to a map of collection. That's long things. And of course, I've got a builder pattern for returning the Feign response. Let's try it. Okay. As you can see, every time I'm calling my clients, it's returned that. So it's also working with JDK 9 and with the new HTTP client. Okay. Of course, there are already existing implementation of that client. If you like to use Apache HTTP client, you can. If you want to use OKHTTP, that's providing support for HTTP2 and load balancing, it's also available. It's quite easy to plug something with a cookie manager inside too. And there's also integration with Ribbon. Ribbon is another Netflix project that's providing load balancing for clients. If you use, on the other side, a service registry named Eureka, another Netflix project, very useful when you're dealing with microservice architecture. And so, just why I love to use Feign, first of all, is open. It's quite easy to go inside the code, very few places. And the community is still active, even if Netflix was not behind. It's simple and intuitive, really simple. You have an API, a backend API. You just need to write an interface. That's all. Everything should be like that in Java most of the time. It's quite easy if you already know the HTTP protocol, because when you pass header or the request line is very close to the syntax of HTTP. And there are some useful extension plugin. I've shown you a few. And it's really easy to write your own one. I've just written one with, I could show that if you want, in about 1 hour to deal with the mono and the flux class of reactive core. And it's not opinionated. For me, it's important to choose my tooling, JSON, Jackson, or Apache HTTP client, or OKHTTP. And this is, I think, a key point if you want to compare it with Retrofit 2. That assume that you should use OKHTTP. Going further, if you have any question, and there is my slide here, and I have 1 minute left, so I can show you the circuit breaker working if you want to, maybe by cheating a little bit, of course. Yeah, I've got my implementation. Okay. I'm going to run it now. Yes, I've just forgotten one thing. Project, let's say JDK 8, going to work. Okay. I'm close if you have any question during the weeks, of course. So every time I'm doing a query here, okay, And of course, if I crash my server, it's going to fall back to the circuit breaker default that's just providing the check noise cats. Okay. And if I restart, of course, it's going to work again. Okay, that's now it's working. So, thanks.